What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the next Masterclass series we're having here today at WeCloseNotes.com. And on this special Masterclass, we've got somebody who I've known for quite a few years now. I like to call her the hardest working person in social media out there because she's always going above for her clients to deliver really great stuff and just does an amazing job in breaking down some of the newest trends and activities and things that you need to be doing. Now, the whole idea for social media oftentimes can give people the feeling. I don't want you to feel that way, and I guarantee she doesn't either. She is the head honcho, the chief bottle washer over at Boomtown Marketing. She's an amazing, I can't speak volumes enough about her. We both, Stefanie and I both think the world of her, but she is the one, the only, the amazing Stefanie LaHart, who's got a huge heart for entrepreneurs when helping to get their marketing out and sharing on social media and stuff like that. And so that's why we got the best of the best to be here for the social media marketing masterclass for you today. So what's going on, Stefanie? How you doing today?
Oh, Scott, it is so good to see you. I still feel like it's been such a million years since I last saw you in person. We used to see each other at all the conferences, and I'm
Yes.
just getting back into it. So nice to be here today. And with your awesome audience, you know how much I love your crew, always so giving and so interested in what I have to say. You really make me feel like I have a point of being in this world. So
You do. I mean, yes, you do. I mean, we met originally at Podfest years ago. I think you were crawling under a chair or a tripod next to me trying to get some good photos. I was like, that woman is earning her keep here definitely and doing stuff like that. But you've been on the podcast before. You've been on Note Camp, Note Night in America, talking about a variety of things because, let's face it, the trends that are going on out there when it comes to marketing are always constantly changing. I think they're getting easier for people.
yeah.
Um, but what is so disturbing is that so few people embrace it to find it. And I know what's made myself successful is the fact that we dove head first into the marketing aspect and take a marketing first approach to what we're doing and getting the word out. It helps us raise more capital. It helps get more deals in. It helps us make more money, grow an audience. And it's not that difficult if you do some simple things to make some things happen. But you just got to kind of lean into it and learn a little bit at a time and get rocking and rolling, right, Stefanie?
That is so true. And like you said, in some ways it's way easier, but in some ways also way harder because the amount of information that's
Yeah.
out there, especially with the dawn of AI now, is quickly becoming so overwhelming to business owners.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what my presentation today is going to help alleviate. It's just this amount of overwhelm that you feel about social media marketing because it can be very quickly. You get in there and you get into that content grind and, within a month you give up. So
Yeah.
I'm going to alleviate the pressure, show you the way, and give people a real strategy that works. So with that said,
Awesome.
are we ready to go, Scott? I'm
Let,
ready.
let's buckle in, pull out your pen and paper. If you're joining us live on here, we encourage questions. If you're watching the replay, ask questions anyway. These are always monitored, and we always strive to make sure your questions are answered no matter if you're watching it live, listening to it, or catching the replay. So no dumb questions. I'm just going to ask you, though, if you are asking questions, stay on point with where Stefanie's at, and we'll leave it up to plenty of time at the end for other questions that don't fall in line. So take it away, Stefanie. And I'll be in here,
Absolutely.
monitoring the chat roll and asking questions myself and sharing my own color commentary.
Fantastic. Okay, let me grab this screen then.
Now, are you home in LA right now, or where are you at right now?
I am in LA. You might hear the helicopters behind me, which is just the sounds of LA at this point. If
You
there's
know,
not a helicopter, you're not in LA.
well, you know what? We have that happening here in Austin almost every night. Steph and I joke about there's either a helicopter overhead we can hear, or Southwest Airlines is landing on its way to Austin International Airport here for a lot of times. So it's always funny.
All right, I'm trying to find my presenter view. Hold on one second.
There we go. I think you're good.
All right.
I love it. You're using Canva to do this, not PowerPoint too, right?
Listen, talk about things that have changed. I love Canva like it's my own baby that I created. I mean, I don't even know how I lived before there was a Canva.
Yeah, exactly. And what's funny is we have an Austinite who is one of the biggest investors early in Canva.
Oh,
Uh, Owen Wilson, who calls Austin home. Mr. Cricket knows.
what? Oh, I'd
Yes.
like to meet that gentleman. Thank him in
Yeah.
person. Okay, Scott, can you see my screen?
Yes, unlock your business potential with social media mastery. Strategies for building an engaging online presence. I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is where we start. As we mentioned earlier, social media can bring about a fear in grown adults like I have never seen. I mean, it's worse than a haunted hayride sometimes. And with good reason. There is a lot going on. Things change very quickly. And, sometimes, just the FOMO that happens is enough to make you never want to start because you're like, I feel like I'm already too late. How could I get on the viral bandwagon? Well, I'm going to give you some strategies and some advice today that's really going to help businesses across the board, not just all of our beautiful people in the real estate business and the investing business, but this really can be used for any business. It's the exact same system that I'm going to show you that I use for a variety of clients. And this really is going to just, help you get on your way to actually having a social media marketing strategy that works for you. To put your, social media on autoplay so you don't have to think about it all the time and to actually make it something that generates leads and revenues and partnerships, because that's one thing I think a lot of people really forget about the social media side is that it is social and there is a way to really use it in a very engaging, natural, and authentic way that you can build very strong partnerships. Like if you don't have the opportunity like Scott and I to go to in-person events, you can meet people online that you will have a lifelong friendship with, like I have with Scott, and still get the same benefits because of the way you met and the interest and the communications that you're building. So, with that said, let's get right in there. For those of you that don't know, let me see which way I need to go. Okay, I'm doing this a little different today with my presenter view. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I don't know how that's possible. My name is Stefanie LaHart, and I'm a business owner, a content creator, and an author, and sometimes speaker on the, conference circuit when I can get myself out there. So this is where Scott and I met, actually, on the conference circuit. Okay, so people also call me Social Stefanie because I am the owner of Boomtown Marketing and the founder of the Social Media Pro Academy. I have over 25 years of experience specializing in digital and social media marketing, and I've helped hundreds of companies, a variety of companies, by empowering them to leverage social media for growth, attract customers, and boost their revenue, which is really why we're in this. Let's just be honest here. We are using social media to build our business, to build our revenue, and I am very, very focused on that with my clients. I am also a certified partner with industry leaders such as HubSpot, Squarespace, and MailChimp. Because for those of you who don't know this, I actually started as a web developer, so I am super tech savvy, and these companies love when they meet somebody like me because not only do I understand their systems, I know how to use them, I know how to leverage them, and I become a great spokesperson for them as well. So call me Social Stefanie if you like, and you will see. Scott, can you see my hair is a little bit longer in that picture? I just chopped it all off.
Yeah, it is a little bit longer.
This is Stefanie all natural, as she came out of the womb with the very dark hair. A little bit more about me. So as Scott mentioned, I live in LA and I rescue dogs and plants. I am a community do-gooder and I do spend my time helping various local charities and most recently my neighborhood with a very badly abandoned property that was next door. In fact, if you Google my name right now, Scott, I am all over the news. Way too many sound bites about me. I am also a marathon runner, an avid gardener, a lifestyle vegan, and a Hemingway aficionado. Scott, did you know this about me? If you ever have a question about Ernest Hemingway, I can answer it for you.
So the question I have you been down to Key West and been down to
baby, I've been everywhere he ate, slept, drank, had relations. The only place I have not gotten to yet is Ketchum, Idaho. It is on my list for this year. Everywhere else I've been. No lie. Nice. I've been to Cuba. I've been to Key West. I've been to Paris. I've been to Africa. I went to where he went to. I mean, I'm kind of like stalkerish. Before he had stalkers, it's probably a good thing he's not around because I would seriously be stalking him. Anyway, if you guys have questions about Hemingway after this, let me know. I'm your girl.
Very nice. Good stuff.
I'm also a vegan, but whatever. Okay. See, things can coexist in this world somehow. All right, here we go. Let's talk about, first of all, hold on, let me move my toolbar here. why am I teaching this workshop today? Besides the fact that I love to speak and Scott keeps inviting me, I want to help you unlock your potential with social media mastery. Like I said, not just for real estate, not just for investing, but for whatever business you might have now or be thinking about in the future. Because truly, there is a system and there are strategies for utilizing social media marketing in a very thoughtful way that will get you the results that you need. That it's not going to be a huge time suck for you. You're not going to, simply feel like you're jumping on trends, copying other people, watching this stuff on the news where they always try to make it seem like everybody's an overnight sensation. I guarantee you right now, there is not one person who is excelling on social media that has not put in the work to do it. Because, and Scott knows, Scott is a master at this, and he can tell you himself how much work he puts into it, but he can also tell you how much benefit and return he gets on that investment. And the problem is, like I said, right now the news always makes it seem overblown that you put one post and you're set for life. You're freaking J-Lo or Paris Hilton. You're just being paid $1 million a post. And I assure you, even in the beginning, for those wonderful women who I admire greatly, they did not start with one post and suddenly rocket to skydom. They put in the work. In fact, whatever you think about Paris Hilton, she's one of the hardest working women in the personal branding sector that I've ever seen in my life. I've been a fan of her forever. And I'm just going to say that girl deserves what she has gotten with her life.
So I didn't like her at first. I didn't, but I realized that part of it was a bit of a facade and part of the branding aspect of it. But yeah, she's extremely hardworking and definitely unbelievable. Total newfound respect, definitely in the last couple of years.
I mean, the work ethic, and now that we get to see so much more of what people put into their business.
Yeah.
I think it's such a good thing, so you can understand that it's like, yes, you can attain a level of success that you always dreamed of, but you have to put in the work for it. And that is what I'm going to show you today, because you know what? In today's digital age, social media is an essential tool for success in your industry. But with so many platforms and strategies to consider, you can quickly start feeling overwhelmed and just simply say, I don't want to do it. I hate social media. I hate those people. I'm not doing it. And that's not, I'm telling you right now, that's not the attitude to have if you are a business owner that wants to succeed, because social media is not just an activity. It is an investment of valuable time and resources that are part of your overall marketing plan. It is your strategy for success. Oh, wait, your strategy is your success. Thank you, Stefanie LaHart. That was a great quote. Thank you very much. And I can tell you're serious about growing your audience. And so I'm just glad that you joined us. And today I'm going to go and demystify the digital blueprint and the digital landscape, let's call it. We used to call it Siberia. Made it sound very vast and kind of vacant. But I'm going to give you the blueprint for creating a successful social media strategy. So no more wasting time, no more wasting money, and no more wasting resources. Today, we're going to grow. Oh, I just did personal rebranding, Scott. Did you see my new website? There's a lot of trees.
There's a
lot of trees because I'm all into growing. I'm all into the forest now. So let's grow together is what I like to say. Okay, here we go. The most common goal of new businesses when they get on social media, they will say something like, I want to get 10,000 plus followers on social media. Because for some reason you think if I have 10,000 followers, it directly translates into $10,000 or $10 million. I mean, I don't know. But when people come to me, they're always like, how do I get 10,000 followers? And I'm like, well, you could buy a bot and have 10,000 followers overnight, but literally your life's not going to change. Although, actually, if you pay for the bot, you will be a little bit poorer because you're just going to be paying for all those fake followers. Yep. But I have interviewed hundreds of business owners over the years, and this is the number one thing they ask me is, how do I get more followers? But we know what they really want is more sales, more leads, and more partnerships. In fact, your follower number at this point, honestly, doesn't mean anything. Much like the YouTube subscriber number means nothing anymore.
Yep.
So, it sounds reasonable, right? I mean, you think followers, more money, right? Okay, but we already said 10,000 followers on social media, this goal leads to failure. And most audiences, honestly, will never reach an engaged audience or real followers. Again, remember, I'm underscoring here the real followers part because, like I said, right now, you could log off this webinar and immediately go to one of those bot services, sign up for, I don't know, $20 a month and have 10,000 followers tomorrow. And it will do nothing for you because they're not real. They're not interested. I mean, they are just bots anyway. And they're not engaged. And social media is only about engagement these days. They do not care about followers. So as we mentioned earlier, some of the celebrities out there that have, I don't know, like 15 million followers, if you look at their followers, you could also see many of their accounts are also bots. And I'm not saying they bought the bots. It's very easy to bots just to jump on your accounts, but it doesn't help them. It only helps when people take an interest, an active interest in what they're doing, talking about, promoting, or selling, and then make that next step off social media to do something. Now, it is nice in many of the social media platforms, there is something like integrated selling, but for the most part, your social media is like an ad that you see, and then the activity takes place off the platform or somewhere else to actually make the money. And that's where we want to get you. Okay, so if you want to grow your business into a success, what do we have to do? You have to turn your social media into a marketing tool to increase your sales, which means social media is no longer just about throwing posts up or liking stuff, especially as you're a business owner because your time is money. Your social media is your marketing tool, and that is the big difference that you have to think about in your mind. It goes from merely, I'm just going to throw things up on social media to, I am going to actively become a content creator with a strategy in mind in order to market my business, my service, whatever it is, your products, and increase my revenue. Because as business owners, this is why we were here. It's like, yes, we want our product to improve the world or improve somebody's life, but we also want it to improve our lives. And usually that means the bottom line is revenue for me, for you included as well. Okay, so then you need a different strategy and a more defined goal for all of that to happen. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, full disclosure, I am nowhere in this presentation going to give you a list of to-dos after this, saying, okay, take this list, and once you do it, this is your strategy, you're off and running. That is not a strategy. They are tips and techniques that you will see thrown out all over social media that people always say, 10 tips to make, whatever happen on social media. And all you're really doing is copying content that wasn't even intended for your business, and you're expecting an outcome. You'll see this in a lot of places. Scott, you've seen this, these challenges, the 30-day challenge.
Yep.
My friends have gotten caught up with this. My family members have gotten caught up. I'm going to do this 30-day challenge. And at the end of this 30, 90, whatever, 1-year challenge, they're like, well, my business didn't move at all. And it's like all you were doing was little like actions, but it didn't really have any strategy behind it. So you were spending a lot of time, being busy, but not actually doing anything that moved your business. So that's different than what we're doing here. We're talking about strategy and defining goals to get you where you want. Because honestly, Scott, you and I just talked about it like 5 minutes ago. Canva? If you have Canva and you have a strategy, I mean, you're off and running. But if you just have Canva with all their gorgeous templates and you're like, these look great, I'm just going to use all this, and you just keep posting, it's not going to get you anywhere because you have no idea why you're doing any of that. So you need the strategy before you develop any of the cute posts that you're going to create, because, you do need really good content, but you hear what I'm saying, right?
Well, you've got to tailor your content for the right type of audience that you're wanting. And I'm a big fan of swapping out followers to clients. 10,000 followers don't do any good, but your first 1,000 clients. I got a friend who has a podcast called your first 1,000 clients. That's what you want to attract is clients with it. And yes, some of that will come from increased followers, but making sure, like you said, you're the right type of followers and you're producing the right type of content or marketing that is going to attract the right client. And that's where your define strategy and comes into play. And that's something that we go a little bit more so in our 3-day workshop and coming through with the marketing side of that. You're not covering that because you're going through what you can do here to do that, but we go through more of that specific strategy for note investors in our 3-day class.
Fantastic. That is a perfect follow-up for this, because our goal here today is to teach you how to unlock your business potential through social media mastery. And my secret strategy for you is that you understand how to apply these principles that I'm going to show you today to all aspects of your business for great success. And like I said, whether this is the business you're in today or the business you're thinking about for tomorrow, what I show you today can translate to that. In no way are you ever going to look at what I'm showing you today and say, well, that only was relevant for that portion of time or that business. I can't use it now, because I hate that about some trainings. Like you look at it, you're like, well, that does it. How do I even translate that to me? And what I'm showing you is what you learned today is you can actually take to your next business, whatever that's going to be, or to build the business you have now into maybe a different direction or building what you already have, So that's what I mean. Like I said, I'm all into growth here and I'm all into growth strategies. So, okay. First, I just want to point out, just so you understand, hold on, I'm still on my little pointer here. I have like 3 monitors. It's still not enough. Okay, one last thing for context. The secrets I'm going to be teaching you today, which aren't really secrets, it is thought out strategy, are from my social media business program at the Social Media Pro Academy. If you're watching me on camera now, you'll see I have my little branded t-shirt. My friend taught me that. He goes, always go on. In fact, I think, Scott, you taught me that. Always go on camera with your own t-shirt. There you go.
Yes.
He has that on. Yeah, I love it. I just got them. Okay, so this is all from my Social Media Pro Academy. I mentioned that just so you know where it's coming from. It is a very well thought out, system that I developed. And the social media program is a 5-module program that helps business owners to quickly create and implement a social media strategy that works and gets results for their business. And in this system, I take you through the strategy to content creation and the ultimate scheduling calendar. Now, as I mentioned, the best part about this program is it works for everyone, from solopreneurs to larger businesses with dedicated marketing teams. In fact, I suggest you share it with your marketing team, or, have it for your marketing team. Then they have something to refer back to. Not everybody's a pro, even though their resume makes them look like they are one. I have learned this. Scott, you have learned this. So this is the most effective system I have ever created, and it's the only one that I use now for my clients and students worldwide. Now, I will explain more about this later, including the breaking down of what each of the modules are. But for now, I just wanted to let you know where all these strategies are coming from that you will be learning today, in case you need more. Okay.
Awesome.
With that said, let's talk about social media for a second, Scott. I have heard business owners say to me, I hate social media. I refuse to be on it. Raise your hand if you've ever uttered those words. I have said it myself, and social media is my business.
I had 3 people tell me that from the last class. I hate social media. I'm like, well, that's great. I understand that. And there are some dumpster fires out there depending on different things. But you got to expect to be on it. How else? If people are looking for things, and that's what they're turning to in a lot of cases for news, events and stuff like that, choosing not to be on there is really choosing not to succeed. The way I look at it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. In fact, it's a gigantic missed opportunity. And I'll let you know right now, I'm not an early adopter. A new social media tool can come out today, and I will wait a year to use it. I like other people to use it, break it, learn some things, have it redeveloped. I'm not one of those people who's like, I got to be on first. I don't. I'm the one that says, yeah, I think you should jump in the pool first. You do it. Let me know if it's cold, because I got other things to do. I'm fine with that. But here's what we're dealing with now. Social media has become an integral part of our lives. We know that. And it has revolutionized the way businesses operate and communicate with their target audience. Now, with billions of active users across various platforms, social media has created an enormous opportunity, as we said, for businesses to reach out to their customers and their potential customers. As I like to say, their partners. Now, in the current landscape, the increasing number of social media users worldwide is growing, as we know, Back in 2022, it was estimated there were 4.8 billion active social media accounts globally, which represents approximately 60% of the world's population. I just want to mention, I said earlier that I've been everywhere Ernest Hemingway's been, right? So I did get the opportunity many years ago to go on a photo safari in Kenya, and it was amazing. And our tour guides were some of the members of the Massa tribe, the Massa warriors. And they're the ones you always see that have the beautiful red draped, like toga looking things that they wear. Let me tell you, every single one of those walked around with a mobile phone with Facebook on it in the middle of the Massa Mara, which is the plains where the zebras are running through. So I'm going to tell you, I think it's more than 60% of the world's population at this point. In the middle of the plains, we had elephants and zebras running by, and they had Facebook ready to go. That's how they kept in touch with their entire tribe. I couldn't believe it. And then, of course, I was like, you're just wearing a toga. Where do you hold your phone? That's another story we'll tell later. That's another story. But really, the impact of social media on society and culture, I mean, it has led to the democratization of information, and it has given a voice to people who were previously marginalized, you know, including the warriors there and people in other continents that, you know, have very little interaction on a day-to-day basis, maybe with like a city vibe or something like that. Like I live in the city. I'm still amazed when I drive out to the country and there's more than 3 trees. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize this still existed. But however, it has also been criticized for promoting unhealthy comparisons and unrealistic expectations, which I myself fall prey to as well, which is, you know, why we sometimes hear, I hate social media. I wish it would just all end. But really, honestly, it's not ending, and it is to our advantage and to our best to really understand, not only as business owners, but as people, how do we use these tools for good to create the partnerships, the friendships, and the connections that we want to make our lives and the world better. So social media has transformed the way businesses operate and communicate with others. And we see that with access to a large and diverse audience. You don't have to go to in-person events. You can interact online. It's great when we're in person, but as we saw with the pandemic, sometimes you're not. So, you know, but also it's a great cost-effective way to reach a larger audience. It's still way cheaper than doing print advertising, way cheaper than doing an in-person, you know, conference, whether you're holding the conference or attending it. And it's still a great way to interact with customers and friends and potential clients. And also, this is something that not many people talk about. It is brand reputation management. I mean, if you have strong social media that is positive for your business, it is like free PR for you all the time, because what many people don't understand is that social media shows up in search results. It's actually SEO right now, and you may have realized it or not. When you're doing a search for stuff, you'll frequently see Twitter profiles show up, or, you know, Instagram profiles show up, and it is being searched now. So what you have on your social media becomes of your overall brand reputation and your PR, okay? It's not just simply, I'm interacting on this tools. Google acknowledges that, hey, this is important. And again, with the dawn of AI, it is more important than ever that you have control of your own brand reputation and that you are actively protecting it on a daily basis, because it's going to be way too easy, especially in the next 6 months, for too much misinformation to be created as we kind of figure out how we're going to deal with these AI tools to really understand how do we manage our own reputation. I've already seen some businesses, you know, become prey to this, where things are popping up about them that aren't true, and it's very quickly going top of the search results. So social media is a way for you to control your reputation at all times. So use it in that way as well. I just want to point that out. So real quickly, just an overview, the benefits for your business are the increased brand awareness. By regularly posting engaging content and interacting with followers, businesses can establish themselves as thought leaders and build a loyal following, which is what we want. And also, again, targeted advertising. This targeted approach helps to ensure that advertising efforts are reaching the right people and can result in higher conversion rates and a better return on investment than, like we said, maybe traditional media out there. I mean, if you've ever in your life looked at what it cost to buy an on-network ad. Like, we only hear about the Super Bowl ads, but even just a regular ad on like your local network, most business owners are never going to be in that game where they're like,
exactly.
yeah, I have $50,000 to do on a one-time ad. Like, that's not going to happen. And that's okay. We have these other things. And then finally, it is improved engagement and loyalty. By responding to your comments and your messages in a timely and helpful manner, businesses can improve customer satisfaction and build brand loyalty. And as we said, also protect brand reputation, which is super important. And, still, TV's not interactive. You can buy yourself a, $1 million Super Bowl ad, but, they can't talk to you directly as they're seeing your great ad during the Super Bowl. I'm still amazed by that we can't talk to our TVs. That's probably coming. AI's here. I don't know. But right now, social media is the game. So how it all comes together. Social media has become an integral part of our daily lives. And with an increasing number of users worldwide, the impact of social media on society and culture is undeniable. And it has also brought significant benefits to our businesses, our lovely business owners. We make the world go round. And by leveraging social media marketing, businesses can reach a wider audience, increase brand awareness, and engage with their customers on a more personal level. Yep. Can I get a hell yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what you're going to learn. Here's what we're going to be covering for the next hour, probably a little under an hour now. I've talked a lot. Okay. You're going to discover how to leverage social media to reach a targeted audience of investors, buyers, and partners, as I like to say. This is important because you're going to learn how to identify your ideal audience, define your goals, and choose the right platforms for your business here. Where is my mouse? Sorry, I lost my mouse again. Okay, building your social media starter strategy. You will learn how to do all of this within this framework that I'm going to show you. And it's not going to be as scary as you thought. And then we're also going to cover crafting a compelling content strategy. As we mentioned earlier, content is super important, but having the right content is even more important. So we're going to talk about how do you create valuable and engaging content that educates your audience, showcases your expertise, and generates leads, aka customers, clients, partnerships, lifelong friends, however you'd like to refer to them. I actually have a client, Scott, who refuses to call his actual customers and clients customers because he feels so bad about it. Everybody's like his buddy or his friend. He'll always be like, my buddy. I'm like, do you mean that client you had? He's like, oh yeah, my buddy. I'm like, is it your friend or your client? It's like, no, it's my client, but it's my buddy. So everybody's his buddy. I think that's so cute though.
That's funny. It's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then we're also going to master the content calendar, where we develop a system for planning and scheduling your social media content effectively. Because you can have the most beautiful content in the world, but if you don't post it or you don't post it correctly, then it's pretty much a waste of your time, because there is a schedule that has to happen, and there's a timeliness, and there's a consistency in order to get it to work with the algorithm, because the algorithm is God right now. Okay, here's your foundation. Number one, this is where we build our foundation. Let's start here. The most important factor for building an audience is knowing your audience. Like, who are you talking to? Okay, Scott, you've probably heard this when people come to you, when you say, who's your audience? What do they usually say? Who's ever buying from me? Who's ever willing to shell out the money is my audience. And you're like, wow, that is not true. Because I'll tell you right now, the big brands out there will tell you a very different story. If you went to Nike and said, who's your audience? They would say, oh, anyone in the room, including Scott and Stefanie. They're our audience too. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not Nike's audience. I've never bought a Nike product. I couldn't care less about I'm just not the Nike person. But they have an audience that believes in it. Any of these brands, any of these designer brands, they know who their person is, and they are talking to their person. They're creating stuff that is for that person, and you have to know that too. You have to have a very clear idea of who you're talking to at all times.
But also knowing what's going on with your client. We're going to look at some very big snafus over the last year with Bud Light not knowing their client base. We can even talk about Nike not knowing their true client base as well, and the uproar that happened early this year, them choosing to use a transgendered woman as their woman um, clothing line, stuff like that. And a big uproar came from that, you know?
Yeah, so you really, you need to know who you're talking to and who the messaging is for, because it's
Yes.
not so much that you have to be pigeonholed into an audience, because
Right.
I do believe those brands can serve other audiences
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
of course. Right.
Specifically, like, you know what, we do want to be able to speak to and serve the transgender
Of
community.
course.
But you
Of course.
also have to make sure that your messaging is in the right place, said in the right way for the right person. Because if you're sending a message to the wrong audience, it will be received like that. And then there's backlash, and then it makes it look bad on all sides. Because I'm,
Yeah.
very much in the belief of I'm supporting whatever lifestyle you want to live. But I'm
Yes.
not going to sit there, like I said earlier, I'm a vegan, but I'm not going to sit there and put veganism in every one of my messages, because that's not what my audience is expecting from me. And it will
Exactly.
turn a lot of people off. I'm not hiding it. I'm not telling you what to do. It's a part of my life. But I'm not going to sit there and tell you how to live your life, because that's not why you came to me. You came to me for social media advice. And if you want to be a vegan or a Hemingway aficionado, I can also help you do that.
But that's the big thing too. That's great about that. You have to realize that there is an audience for everybody. Knowing your audience is, it's not just pigeonholed into one thing, but also understanding the majority of what's going on with the existing and not ignoring feelings and stuff like that. For your mastermind, and not everybody's your client. It was one of the biggest things I learned earlier on in my life. I can't make everybody happy. I have to try to focus on the folks that are my ideal cheerleaders and clients, the folks that are on the fence that don't know me yet, and those that aren't my clients are just not going to be the person that I'm going to deal with and serve on a regular basis. You know what I mean?
You are spot on. You are spot on, Scott. You really, really understand. So, okay, here is a great example for you. Also kind of funny. Also because, again, I am obsessed with the forest. I live in the middle of LA. I swear to God, I'm like forest deprived at this point. Okay, imagine you are an architect and you want to design a house. So you go online and you look up a couple of cool pictures of houses, or you read through the latest architect magazines and you see a tree house and you think, I love this house. This is in my brain. I love this house. It looks cool and my kids think it's cool, and I'm going to build this house. So what do? I go to Miami Beach and I build this house. What would happen, Scott? Talk about the wrong market. Do you love my example? This is so
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, exactly. There ain't gonna be trees down in Miami Beach, and palm trees ain't gonna be the right kind either.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to put this right in the middle of Miami Beach. They would be like, "Oh my God, is she like this lunatic, like multi-bill? Like who? What would happen? No one would buy it, right?
Mm-mm.
Nobody would Miami Beach want something like that. A tiny little treehouse with all these mega high rises so they can see the ocean. But it was my dream, so I put it out there. But I mean, I had no idea what my buyers wanted or what the market wanted, and they didn't want either of them. So what was it? Wrong market, wrong house, wrong strategy. And the same is with social media. Like, you can't simply be like, well, I like it, so I'm just going to put it out there. 'Cause, I mean, listen, honestly, I would live in this treehouse. But my boyfriend would not, because he's about 6 feet tall. So I think we'll have to come to a compromise.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because just being cool doesn't cut it in the real world. It just doesn't, as much as we'd like to think. You can't copy or paste. You can't just, cut it and expect it to bring results. I mean, we will talk about trends later, but just like you wouldn't create a product without market research, you can't expect good results from dropping a treehouse in a luxury market. I love that example.
Good
Okay.
stuff.
Okay, here we go. You have to know your audience. You have to identify your ideal audience that will be interested in your business or your product. Or alternately, I'll add here, you have to look at a market that you might be interested in serving and then develop that product and idea around their needs. So it's not just about, I built something and now I'm going to find the audience that wants to buy it. I'm also going to look and see what my market wants and create stuff specifically for them, which is what I did with my social media mastery course. It's like, I saw what people were asking me over and over. So I created a product that worked specifically for business owners. Okay, so once you identify your ideal audience that will be interested in your product, you're going to understand your person inside and out, as we have been saying all along. And it may sound very repetitive at this point, but number one, This is the problem I see over and over when people come to me, businesses come to me, they have no idea who they're talking to, but you really need to understand your person inside and out. And you may have heard this referred to as like a business avatar or an ideal customer, and you can call it what you like. You have to know who it is that you are going to be talking to. Who is the kind of person that you would be interested in doing business with you and would be interested in doing, buying from you, I guess you want to say. Yeah, sales. Sure. There we go. Back with sales. So this is the foundation of everything you do. And when you do it correctly, the algorithms will love you from the start. Okay, I mentioned the algorithms here because we think of algorithms as the big scary, because people don't understand algorithms. They think it's magic. They think it's a big scary computer monster that does stuff of its own free will. I have news for you. We are the monster. We created the algorithms. We programmed the computer. Even with AI, we are still driving the train up into this point. Skynet has not taken over. And even when Skynet takes over, remember, we were the ones that set up the system. So I'm like, listen, Scott, stay friends with me forever, because I'll be one of the ones that'll be able to hack the computers and still get it to do what I want, right? Yeah, exactly. People are very scary about the AI thing. I'll still know how to get them back on track and in my world, because I know how computers do. So I'm just saying, you got to get the algorithms to love you, because an algorithm is just a math equation. That's it. Programmed by a human. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Because the truth is, most businesses, social media accounts fail because they have no idea who they're trying to reach. And you end up a very sad little business owner, like my little guy on the screen. You just don't know, and you're just floundering around. Okay, so this is going to make your life so much easier, which I'm going to show you right now to set your foundation. No brainer. People engage on social media about topics they're interested in. Okay, so we mentioned earlier about doing a copy and paste. Here's why it doesn't work. Because you can see another business. It might even be something in, let's say, your field that you think, well, they're just like me. So I try and copy and paste them and take what they're doing and why am I getting not the same results kind of thing. You have to understand, your social media audience actually grows with you, grows up with you. You have like a relationship timeline of when people fall into when they find you and how long they kind of follow through. So if your social media, when you're starting, is I'm just going to copy what all these big brands are doing, and they've already nurtured their audience, so their audience already expects maybe a wide variety of stuff from them. Let's talk about Paris Hilton again. Like, she has product lines like, out the wazoo, different product lines. If she went on the scene with all these different product lines from the get-go, always throwing them out there, it's too much. People wouldn't know what it was. But, you set yourself up from the beginning. Well, first I'm going to have a perfume, or then I'm going to have a handbag line. And you gently roll it out, massaging your audience so they know they can jump in on the topics they're interested in, so you're not kind of just vomiting everything to them all the time. You have to find the topics they're interested in the beginning. And we always like to be very specific when we're starting our social media. In fact, I always say, start with one platform, one topic, and that's all you do for like a year. That's how long it would take. Okay, and why is this important? Because by knowing exactly who you want to speak to, you will be able to make better and more strategic choices when it comes to creating your content. And that is so important, because again, if you just copy and paste, you'll just end up with nothing. You'll end up with a lot of busy work, a lot of very cute templates that you probably copied off Canva, and you'll say, social media doesn't work, and I hate the people that use it. And what you're really saying is, I hate the success they have, because I didn't have the patience and time to figure it out myself. So yeah, just, take that onus on yourself, own it, because it's true. It takes time and patience. All right, and why is this important? Because you're going to create content that resonates and gets engagement. Because once again, specific audience, specific message for what you are doing. Okay, and the algorithm will be much more likely to recommend more of your content, because the algorithm, the magic 8-ball in the sky, what it wants to do is to keep you on that social media platform of your choice. And they're going to do that by constantly feeding you certain topics that you seem to be very interested in. Scott, guess what's all over my social media feeds, especially Instagram?
Dogs and veganism.
A lot of dogs. A lot of dogs. A lot
Pitbulls. Yep, specifically.
A lot of dogs and vegans. It's like I get business stuff, dogs, veganism. That's my whole world. And it's a self-fulfilling cycle. It gives me more of that, so I look at more of that. So your content, when it really sticks to a topic and you can keep serving that, and your audience starts responding, the algorithm, aka math equation, sees 1 + 1 = 2, and they will keep multiplying for you. That is why you need a very targeted, strategic statement there. Okay, here we go. Define a clear goal for every action you take. Number 1, every action you take on social media, clear goal. When I create this post, what do I expect to happen? Do I want somebody to just like it? Do I want them to share it? Do I want them to make a comment? Do I want them to click on it and then go to buy this product within the, in the application? Do I want them to go to a landing page? Do I want them to download? Do I want them to just simply read this, take the information, not do a physical action, just come back for more later? Every single one of your social media posts has a clear goal defined for it on your social media. It's not every post is generating a sale that's taking you to a website. As we already know, and the platforms have caught up with us finally, people like to shop within the platform. I shop personally on Instagram all the time. Yep. All the time. I love it. I love being able to buy stuff that I see right there and not have to go and hunt and search. Back in the day, Pinterest, I'm looking at you, it was so frustrating to see something that looked really awesome or interesting or cool or valuable and then have to go and search for it. Now you can do in-app buying on all of them, and I love it. And that's why the goal is important, because if you're saying to your audience, go buy this now, and you don't have an online store set up within the app, that's a mistake, because they're going to think I can buy it right now, and you didn't set it up that way. So be strategic. If you want them to buy something, tell them how to buy it, or where to buy it, or what to do next. Maybe you don't have an online shopping for whatever reason, so tell them in the post how to get that next result.
Right.
Okay. Each post can have a different reaction, which goes beyond a simple like. Likes, honestly, don't mean that much anymore. On any given post, you may be aiming for comments, like we said, clicks, views, follows, DMs, which are direct messages for those of you who are truly old school. And they're like, hey, what's a DM? My kid said that. Is it dirty? Well, no. It's a direct message, which could be dirty. Okay, no, but you don't know, but a lot of different things your post could be aiming for. And usually, I'm telling you right now, your post is not aiming to take you off of the app, because it's already been proven. The apps aren't going to, the algorithms, the magic 8 ball in the sky, doesn't want to take you away from the app. So if you're trying to make a sale, your post better be able to make that sale within the app or take you to the next level. Like, say I'm like selling, I don't know, I'm selling a service. My service lives somewhere else, or they have to contact me. What I would do in that social media post would be something like a free offer. Hey, let me give you a free checklist or a free audit or something. Get in contact me, I'll send it to you, give me your email, whatever. And then I can make that next. You just have to think about all the steps to get you there, because it really looks different depending on what you're aiming for.
Yes.
So in the beginning, you might just want likes, because it helps to show that your content is on track, which honestly, when you're starting a social media account, yeah, you want to get some likes happening up there, because it's also social proof. Let's be honest. I didn't even put this in, but I want to mention this now. Let's be honest. We all go into social media accounts, and immediately, because we are human, we judge accounts by how many followers they have. Unfortunately, this is the way that we are wired. I honestly, between you and me, wish they would take follower counts off, because it really, even me, I know all the tricks. I know the algorithm. I know how it works. And it influences my initial decision about stuff. And I wish they would take that follower count away, so you don't see it, because there's so much more that could be offered from looking at that account. And I think we disregard stuff because of that in a lot of ways, because it's social proofing and we're social creatures. And that's fine, but don't get trapped in the like count. And again, don't buy, with a bot. In fact, I'll tell you about a client of mine later who, I'll tell you now, he signed up for one of the bot things. He's like, I just got to get some likes up. I got to get people following me. And I'm like, and I looked at his account recently, and he has like 85,000 followers, and it's all bots. And it's true. People are going to look at that and be like, well, a lot of people follow you, but not one of them is valuable. Not
Right.
one of them. And the people that are coming on there to judge you about that are probably not the people that were going to buy from you or be your client anyway. They were probably a competitor just checking up on you. So didn't really help either way because, it only goes so far. Okay, so your goals can and should change over time. I mentioned that now because, again, we might want to start with a like. We might just want to get the algorithm to, start seeing our content as valuable. We might just need it internally, emotionally to see my post got one like that wasn't my mom. But this will change over time, and it should, because it really should change to engagement, because your followers don't matter. Your engagement matters. And I will say this, when I say engagement, that doesn't mean how many comments you got or how many views. Your engagement is the goal that you set up. If the goal of my post was to get this number of people to get into that journey, that pathway, whatever that's going to be, to get them to download my freebie, that's what my goal is, right? And that number won't show up on social media because they might not have ever liked it. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't like all that much anymore. I'm too lazy. I scroll through all the dogs. I love them. I love all the dogs. I rarely like stuff because you're just, there's more coming. And that's another thing with the likes and stuff like that. It's not ever going to be a proof of how your business is doing. So if you only aim for likes and comments and views now, you're not going to get anything. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is what was my original goal for that? And if it was to get a certain number of people enrolled in a certain program, it doesn't matter how many likes or engagements you got. If you didn't get 100 people into your program, but you got 1 million likes, that's not because your program wasn't good. It just, you didn't have the journey set up right to get them there. So that's part of your goal. Okay. So while we're talking about platforms we love and know, let's talk about choosing the right platform for your business and your audience. Because now you know who you want to reach, and let's talk about where you're going to find them. Okay, there's a lot of platforms out there. Sometimes we get stuck on what I call the big five, which are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, which is now called X. Snapchat, YouTube. What's the other biggie, Scott? I'm thinking about TikTok.
TikTok, Threads,
all of them. All of them. But guess what? There's tons of other platforms out there that people are utilizing on a daily basis that you really don't think about as social media. Like if you're an author trying to get people to read your new book, I would hang out on Goodreads a lot and comment and get people to talk to me on there. That's a social media tool, believe it or not. Things like Reddit, it's a social media tool. Things like the Discord servers, social media tools at this point. So don't get so trapped into thinking, Facebook, Instagram all the time. They're not the only places that you could be doing what we're going to call your social media marketing. In fact, I'm working with an author now. We have a whole program that does include him being more active on Goodreads and things like that to get people that are interested in the genre he writes to, read his book or maybe read like the first 3 free chapters and stuff like that. It's all social media at this point because your audience could be on multiple platforms or they could be on one. But you have to choose the right one for your business. Because you know what? Your business might not ever do good on TikTok. It just might not. I don't care how much the news talks about it. So don't feel like you have to be there. If you don't, and also, if you don't like that platform, personally, you don't have to be on it.
Okay. Well, it's funny thing you say that because I'm just thinking back to an episode of, I like to watch John Oliver on Sunday nights. And there's been a lot of news in there, obviously, about TikTok being sold, but there's also been a lot of news on there about Trump's platform, True Social, stuff like that, too. Very diverse stuff there. So I'm always curious to say how much John Oliver's mentioned it and trying to bash it. How many subscribers does he drive into it as well, too, in a variety of fashions, too?
Oh, he's driving a huge number of subscribers. Many people would not even know it existed, and you're absolutely right. The more he bashes it, the more he's actually helping it. But the social media universe is expanding. I threw up a bunch of, there are so many on here, so many that you're just like, I don't even know what that is. And that's fine. You might not ever need to use it. But there is a lot more out there. Even things like SoundCloud, considered social media at this point. Just know where your audience is because you can always take the audience that you build on one platform and then repurpose that content and post it at a later date at a different platform. Once you, of course, realign it to fit with whatever sizing it is, maybe change the messaging, your original content can live on in longevity on other platforms as well. And we'll talk about more that when we talk, getting the content and scheduling. But the good news is like, if you just concentrate on one platform, one message, one voice, you are off to a head start. I mean, you're going to be so much more, head of the game than anyone else, because it's not the time to follow trends that you hear about on the news or try to be the news. Example number 2. All right, I had a client a few years back, and he was not very active on social media, and he wanted to get better, which is why he came to me. He had posted a video on YouTube that referenced a local hot topic in his community. He was actually interviewed for something, and it had nothing to do with his business. That video ended up getting 2 million views, okay? Wow. 2 million views on one video on his YouTube channel that literally had 6 subscribers. He was so excited, and he came to me very proud of himself. Well, I've got 2 million views on this video. What can you do with it now? What can you do with it now? And I was like, he's like, how do I leverage this for my business? And mind you, it had nothing to do with his business. It was about a local topic in his community that he happened to be interviewed about. And I had to break it to him. That video was useless to him. And in fact, YouTube was not where I would even recommend starting. And by the way, YouTube was never going to send him more traffic. Because it wasn't even it's like, well, hey, I seem to be a little bit knowledgeable on this, topic, so I'll create more videos about that topic. Nope. It was a flash in the pan. And that video still exists out there, and he still shows it around saying I have 2 million, 2 million views on it, but literally never did anything for him. And there's your angry, mean cat to say, what? I have 2 million views, and you, social media professional, can't do anything with that? I'm like, no, I cannot, and neither can you. And no, nothing's ever been done with that, because nothing to do with this business. That's what a trend does. Like, what I mean, like, so if you're like, I want to get a viral post, I want to hop on this trend, you might get 1 million views on it. I'm not saying you're not, but really, what's it going to do for the rest of your business? Because if that's not your niche, if that's not your content, if that's not what you're talking about, the algorithm's never going to send you more people. So you'll have one video to pull out at a cocktail party all the time and talk about, and that might be your thing. I don't know. Stick to who you know and what you know. Write this down. Take a screenshot, people. Stick to who you know and what you know.
Yep. So true with that.
All right, let's get into content. I know I'm really blasting through time here, Scott, so I might have to really skip some of these slides. I was very, very aggressive in my slide creation for this. I'm going to have to trim it down. Let me go a little faster. First and foremost, for content, you are there to serve. When you serve your audience, you fulfill their needs, and your content has responsibilities. Let's remember that. What value will your content bring to someone's life? You have to remember that, because their time is valuable too. Even if you feel like scrolling is a waste of time, nope, it's not your time. It's their time, which is their life. And we all have a very limited number of hours. It's valuable. So by creating informative, engaging content, you can show your audience that you understand their needs. Screenshot that one. Also important. Okay. Create valuable and engaging content that educates your audience, showcases your expertise, and generates leads, because you are a business owner. This could be in the form of entertainment, aka edutainment, product information, straight out education, industry news, sharing your expertise, behind the scenes, service information, social proof. All these things you see on your screen right now, Scott has mastered. You do a great job, Scott, of doing all the variety of this content, and I love you for it, because you show people how it really works. Right. That you can do something entertainment and do behind the scenes, but also do like service, information, product information, expertise sharing. And that's what it all comes down to, because sometimes we see a social media post and we don't really know how to categorize this. But if you take a minute, you're like, oh, that's entertaining. That's just for my entertainment. That's fine. Oh, that's expertise sharing. Okay. And then you're able, once you do your content creation, to understand what your content pillars look like. Because what I'm showing you right now, these are content pillars. Take a screenshot of that one as well. You'll use it later. Here are some great examples in the real estate industry. Your content does not have to look like everyone else's. You can look at theirs for inspiration, see what others are posting in your field, but you don't have to copy them. because it might not be how you present yourself. It might not feel good to you. You might not like creating that kind of content. Like our wonderful woman in the middle of the screen, she does several talking head videos. You might be the kind of person like, I never want to be on screen. That's fine. You don't have to. You could still do what she's doing, but instead of showing your face, simply show the property or whatever it is you're talking about and never be on camera. But it's a good inspiration to see maybe how she's doing it and then be like, well, how could I then realign this to what feels good for me or my team? I've worked with many social media teams that are like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. And sometimes business owners expect their employees to be like, no, well, you should let me interview you on camera. You should be on our TikTok. You have to be. You're an employee. And that's honestly not how it is. And let me tell you, Gen Alpha, Gen Alpha they're called. Do you know? They named them Gen Alpha. They took the A's. Gen Alpha is going to be saying, I am not your product. I am your employee, but you don't own me and you can't make me be on it. So any business owners that are maybe even starting out or old school, it's like you can't force your employees to be on social media if you don't want to even be. So, think about how maybe you could take content that is working in your industry and then realign it for how it works with your business and with your employees and with your own messaging. There's a lot. I looked at other examples all the time. They're great. Maybe you're showing the property. Maybe you're showing, the renovation that goes into it if you're in investing. Maybe you're even doing a tutorial that is simply nothing but an infographic so you can show how math works, how investing math works. People don't understand numbers. My mom's like this. Oh my God, I'm going to say this because she's never going to hear it. Like she'll be like, oh my God, they're sitting on a pile of money. Like when she finds out in LA that somebody has like a $4 million house, they're sitting on a pile of money. I'm like, how do you figure that? First of all, they're living there. So the money's only, available to them if they move. But in LA, on my neighborhood, if you sell that $4 million house, you better have $6 million to buy another property.
Right.
So it's not like you sell a house and you just hand it $6 million cash. Like I swear sometimes my mom thinks that. And I'm like, that's not like real, Mom. Okay, whatever. She'll never watch this, so I don't care. But I mean, you gotta see what's being out there. Okay. So by combining this different kinds of content with different formats, your social feed becomes a desired and source destination where people will seek you out. Not only will the algorithm be serving your content to the appropriate audience, people are going to look for you, especially when they need information in that. When people look for social media, they look for me now. They're like, oh, I met Stefanie. She knows what she's talking about. I'm going to go see what she's been posting because, could probably help me when I'm dealing with my business. Because a lot of people will come in, I call them one and dones. They'll come to my content, they'll look at a couple things, they won't come back. And I'll see them and I'll be like, oh, did you see this? They're like, no, I don't, I haven't been there. I'm like, oh, but you interacted with this. And they're like, yeah, I haven't been back because they got what they needed. And then that was kind of it, which is fine. It's fine. I don't mean that, listen, my issues are my own. I'll take them up with my therapist. Okay. Again, the algorithm responds to action and it will be much more likely to recommend more of your content when it sees people interested in your content. So make your content the kind of content that people seek out, enjoy, and return to again and again. Screenshot that one because that is gold right there.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Okay. So let's think about this. We talked about it briefly. When you're scrolling through social media and you're looking at other accounts, even other accounts that are in your genre, your industry, what are the kinds of content that catch your eye? You are your own best litmus test on this one. What catches your eye? And what kinds of content do you enjoy on social media? I enjoy these dog posts, but what is it about the posts that I enjoy, right? I can really sit there and self-analyze, and that helps me actually be a better marketer. Because in a lot of cases, I'm trying to attract people that are very similar to me or businesses that are very similar to where I've been or businesses that I've worked with. So I understand when I'm seeing this content and reacting to it a certain way, I'm like, oh, I know why I felt that way. And that's why people would feel that way. And perhaps that content would work for me as well. I love it. I love it when I turn on like daytime television to watch like maybe, a couple minutes of the commercials to see what that TV program is targeting. Because just by the commercials. Like if it's suddenly like, I don't even know. There's
these Sunday infomercials that you see.
Yeah, that kind of thing. There was a really great example one that I can't even think of now that I was like, oh yeah, they must get a lot of people that it was some kind of like, like vitamin supplement. I go, oh, they must realize that there's a lot of people in this age range that would be interested in a vitamin supplement. That's why they've bought this at time. That's interesting to me. So like be discerning, like really be your own investigative researcher when you're on social media to see what's kind of happening out there. Because the truth is most people will not engage with your content on the first view. Truth. Like I said, I'm in the game. I rarely like. They need to be exposed to your content multiple times. And I'll tell you this, if you remember back in the day, there was a little group called the Hare Krishnas, and they used to hang out at the airports back when you could hang out at airports, and they would hand out free flowers.
Yep.
Because they knew the law of reciprocation, which means when I do something for you, give you a flower or a smile or a nod or say something pleasant to you, as a human being, you are wired to respond in kind the same way. You give me something, I give you something back, and that something back might be your time. So you will notice when I said I don't usually like things, I do tend to, after I viewed account a certain number of times, feel that guilt rising within me and know I should give them a like. And I will. Account that I've looked at 100 times. I'm like, yep, you're right. And then I might even go and look at their, actual feed and be like, well, what else is going on there? But it took me a long time to get there. It wasn't my first view. Probably wasn't even my 10th view. It might take up to 20 views for people to start really engaging with you. They need that exposure, which is why Mickey D's, although it's been around since like 1940, still runs mainstream television advertising. Because you might forget they're there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. More so than
a vegan who is no longer a vegan and now you're back. I don't know. Right? Okay, so this is how it was. In the beginning, in the Ice Age, social media feeds were chronological. So if you posted multiple times a day, your content was always seen, it was always on top. That era is, like the Ice Age, gone. This is how it is now. Social media feeds are Social media feeds are algorithmically driven. Your content competes with the billions of other content pieces every day. So give your audience the time to fall in love with you. One viral piece of content will take you nowhere, as I pointed out with my friend client a couple slides back there. You really need the time to nurture that relationship, which is why, honestly, a lot of businesses quit because they think after 30 days, I'm failing. Nothing's happening on my social media account. They don't understand that you need to give your audience time to fall in love with you. You can't be a one and done. And that's honestly what happens. So most people will never leave the scroll. Raise your hand. I rarely leave the scroll. So even if they like your piece of content, they may never even follow you. Again, it's not about the followers. Social media giants just remove the followers at this point. That means it's more important than ever that you provide good quality, consistent content so the algorithm sees it as valuable and servable because they're just not getting out of the feed even to go and follow you at this point. It just doesn't mean that much. So when you develop a system for planning and scheduling your social media content effectively, you are on your way to success. How you show up on a consistent basis and stay relevant means everything. So you know your audience, you know the content you want to create, you might have already created 30 days of it. Thank you, Canva. If you don't develop a system for planning and scheduling your content effectively, essentially you have just wasted that time of your life. Think about it as your days in your early 20s when you may have been in a coma, because that's what it was like, because you didn't do anything with it. You have to do something with it, and that's what we call planning. You must master the content calendar in order to captivate your audience and grow your social media. You have to be on a calendar. Scott knows this. I know this. Yeah. This includes a realistic content creation schedule plus post-planning schedule. Again, using my clients as the example, I have had many of them come to me. I'm going to create all this content. They're very aggressive in the beginning. I'm going to do blogs and videos and live stuff. So ambitious. And I'm like, when are you going to have time for all that? You don't have a content creation schedule in your day. You may still be a team of one. How are you going to do that? You have to be realistic with where you're starting. And it's not a bad thing. I have seen businesses blow up on Instagram, only using Instagram, only creating one post a day, doing nothing else. And when I say blow up, meaning their business grows because of their marketing efforts, not because like I've got 1 million followers. But they took the time to be like, this is what I have the ability to do. I have one platform. I'm going to create one piece of content a day. It's here, and that's it. And it worked well. So don't get overgrown with enthusiasm. You still have a business to run. Life is good. Look at this building. Like, this is my dream home, right? I just want to know who's watering all those plants. Think of that. Who's going to water all your social media plants? You have to create a content calendar, and you have to write a clear plan of what content you want to post and make sure it aligns with your goals, which we mentioned in the beginning. Because do you have the resources for this content creation? Do you have an in-house team? Are you going to do outsourcing? Are you a team of one? Are you a team of 5, but you're not sure if the other people know what they're doing? I mean, there's so many factors that go into this. Like I said, resumes can be misleading. I have heard time and time again, Stefanie, I have hired a social media expert. They're going to be doing everything for me. And then they put them on a call with me, and I'm like, oh, I'm teaching social media 101 is what I'm doing right now.
Well, that's the thing too. That's very. I've got some colleagues that have done that. They've hired a VA to do posts. I'm like, your posts are the same thing. There's nothing compelling about it. They don't understand. The VA doesn't understand the client base. They're going off what they think, and it's not even close to it. You have to switch it up a little bit, change it. Even if you're staying on one platform, you still got to switch it up a little bit so that people can understand it versus posting the same thing, exactly the same thing with a different image and a different opt-in. You've got to shake it up a little bit because it's the same thing over and over again. People are just going to be like, move on to something else.
Exactly. And that's where just changing up that content, changing up the visuals really helps, because you know what? Here we go. Using a social media scheduler to schedule your posts, 30 days out, this will leave you with more time to engage and be creative with your audience and avoid burnout, because fact checked, burnout is the #1 problem that kills social media accounts. After 30 days, they're like, I can't do this. It's too much work. It's not working. It's not working for me. I created all this content. And you're like, no strategy, no content calendar, didn't know what you were doing, threw stuff up, 30 days, you're out. You're burned out after 30 days. And anyone who has successfully used social media, again, including the wonderful celebrities we mentioned, they did not do that overnight. We're talking going on, for God, since the start of Instagram, both of those ladies were on it. 15 years.
Yep.
Constantly posting.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's the thing is it's when you say constantly posting, let's take that back a little bit, because some people are like, oh, I got to post 10 times a day. But constantly posting means it's a consistent posting on a regular interval, whether it's once a day, once a week, maybe morning, maybe evening, maybe it's just taking the time to get it. I think that's one of the most things that's helped us be consistent. It's just, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we know we're going to get something posted today, and we start the morning off like, okay, what are we posting? What are we doing today? We either have a podcast episode, which will be a video tomorrow, or we're sharing a blog post, or if I'm busy in other things else, I'm going to film a 1-minute little video, a little selfie video talking about something, and I'm going to share that in 8 spots. So it's at least done. It's watered out there a little bit. It's valuable, maybe only a minute, because I have longer content coming, but it's that I know I need to do this, and it doesn't take much time to do this. And that's the big thing. People think it takes all this time. Well, if you plan it out like you did, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. Or you get in consistent basis, you get faster at it.
Scott, what you said was so beautiful for the visual I had, because that's exactly what this slide was about. Because I had written, you have to have the planning and patience if you truly want to activate your social media as a source of leads, partnerships, clients, and customers. It is a long journey that takes a well thought out strategy in order to succeed. Much like our wonderful hikers, and everything Scott just said, I fully agree. So, God, Scott, thank you. We should go on the road together, because that was really perfectly timed. And we did not plan that. I love that. You know. Okay. Slide. Okay, so how to increase your odds for success. #1, embrace the power of social media for good. Embrace it. If you ever hear yourself during the day saying you hate social media or feeling yourself cringe for whatever reason, just embrace that social media actually can be used for good. Yeah. I have charities fundraise on social media. That's for good. I've helped dogs get adopted on social media. That's for good. I've connected with, family and friends on social media. That's for good. I mean, it can be for good. It's not a place just where you can lose money and friends and time. It can be good. Embrace that. Like, actually change the way your mind thinks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, you need to create a strategic plan and do the research. If you do not have the plan, and if you're not willing to plan, I'm going to tell you right now, don't do it. Don't get on social media. If you're not willing to have a strategic plan, because you're just going to waste your time. And I don't want you to. I want you to, I don't know, go hiking or something. And then number 3, you need to go all in for at least 3 months to see what's possible. 30 days isn't going to do it. 60 days isn't going to do it. 3 months minimum to see what's possible and to see what feels good for you and your team. Because again, maybe you were over enthusiastic in the beginning, and then as you get into it, you're like, no, this is what we can do. And then you realize, well, this is really what we only have to do. We didn't have to do all that other stuff. But at least 3 months, you have to commit to doing it. Anything less, you'll never be able to look at your analytics and see any kind of patterns, or even be able to see the patterns again within your own business that makes sense for you. Because again, if you're a person that doesn't like live video and you keep trying to do live video, you're never going to do live video correctly. So just take that off the schedule and relieve yourself. I had a friend recently, we used to work together, and he was complaining to me, oh, I know I got to do Facebook ads. And then he gave me 50 reasons why he hates Facebook ads. And I was like, well, what do you like doing? He goes, oh, I really like going to the community meetups and meeting people and talking to people. I said, well, stop telling yourself you need to do Facebook ads, and instead add a few more community meetups where you can meet people in person, because that's what you love doing. And people love you and they love to talk to you about it. And he was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't want to do something I don't want to do. So don't do it. I'm taking that off your plate right now. Start simple. Stay focused. That's it. Don't try to be somewhere you don't want to be. Okay, clients often ask me for an easy content calendar. So I show them this. You want to start small, especially if you're a team of 1. So try posting 10 pieces of content per month. Like, literally, this is your calendar. Pick 10 days you're going to post. That's usually 2 to 3 times per week. This will give you ample time to create the content you need and what you're looking for. In the beginning is consistency. Once you have 3 solid months of content, you can start analyzing what you worked for and what worked for your audience. And I'm telling you, this is what your content calendar can look like. Simple. That's it. Just tell me what you're going to do and plan for it, right? Scott knows, because Scott does a 30-day calendar.
I so do. We have we call it a 30 by 30 marketing matrix. 30 days down the left-hand side, starting with the first month. And then we have basically across the top 30 different activities that we would do. Some are weekly, some are monthly, some are daily. And it's a variety of, besides us just not posting, attending events or making a few phone calls or posting on stuff, and you get a grade for it. But it's a very simple thing. I've been using that for 20 years and going back to it, but it's the simple thing to help you visualize, because that's the biggest thing I think a lot of people get is, oh, I sit down, I'm going to post something. What the hell do I talk about? What do I post? What am I going to share? And this way it helps you kind of come up with ideas that are things that are going to help you. You still got to fill in what you're going to do with it, but it's the ideas like, oh, I need to post a real estate article, or I need to share a deal video or a case study or something that you've done. It's just there to help you prime the pump, and then you can create your own message and your own kind of language and vibe and flow to your social media.
Absolutely. Like I said, your calendar can look as something simple as that. In fact, I would start with that, because simply handing out a content calendar is not going to help anyone succeed in the long term. It's not. It takes strategy, which is what we have said from the beginning. And that's why I am personally on a mission to empower business owners with a social media strategy built for growth and customer attraction. Because otherwise, it's just busy work taking you from what's actually going to build your business and increase your revenue. So I could ask you, what did you find most helpful today? But I already know Scott and I talk all the time, and we covered a lot here. And I have some other things I want to cover. So anyone that's listening to this, please, in the comments, follow up and let us know, what did you find most helpful today? And also ask your questions. We will be checking them, and we will give you answers. So wherever you're seeing this, wherever your comment box is, leave them in there. anything you found helpful or questions for today, and we will follow up with you and give you the answers that you need for that. Because I don't know about you, but you might still be like, I'm interested in learning more about how to create a social media strategy, because you keep talking about it, Stefanie, and you didn't show me the actual strategy, which I am well aware of, because what I said is your strategy is going to look different from everyone else. And I did not, from the get-go, told you in the beginning, wasn't going to give you a to-do list of stuff to do and say, guess what, this is all you need to do to be a social media superstar. That would be a disservice to you. I could easily do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you instead how you create a strategy. You create the strategy that works for you and your team to get you the leads, customers, and clients that you want. Because the number one goal of most business owners is to have marketing made easy and that really works. And there are tons of hacks out there, but no strategy. And you know what? I have to say, for many people, social media still feels like a magic trick. And when the truth is, it only works when you follow a strategy that is built on your business and for your business. Because it's so frustrating to me personally, Scott, that people come up to me. By the time they come up to me, I mean, they're burnt out and they're miserable because they've been trying to figure it out themselves. So you know what? I was like, I can't see people suffer anymore. So I created a system that can be used for any business at any stage of growth, and to have a social media strategy that works. If this sounds interesting to you, keep listening, because I'm going to tell you how you can get access to it. So there's no more wasting time, no more wasting money, no more wasting resources, doing things that are not going to help grow your business. I'm just not going to allow it anymore. I can't stand the look of pain. Here's what I developed for you. The social media strategy for business, Scott. This is what I did during the pandemic. I started formulating all of this in my head. Now, I will say I didn't create this during the pandemic. I actually got a full-time job. I was super busy. I got distracted. And when that full-time contract ended, I sat there and I said, I want to create this program. And I looked back at my notes and oh my God, I had already written out the whole program. It was a gift. It was like a future gift to myself and a future gift to you guys, because it was so easy for me to pull it all together. I'm like, I already did it. I was almost mad at myself for not launching it sooner. I honestly feel really bad because there were so many people that could have used it and I sat on it. So I apologize. It is here for you now. This social media strategy for business system is going to help you reach your social media goals, and you're going to be able to start doing it in just 60 days. It is not a collection of random growth strategies, tips, and hacks. It is a system created to create and implement a successful social media marketing campaign to build your business and increase sales. And it includes all of this lovely stuff you see on your screen, which I will explain to you, because besides just watching my face on video, we have some very valuable tools inside. Like I said, I was mad at myself when I saw how much I created and I hadn't launched it, because there were so many people that could have used it and are already burned out and they're like, their business is gone. So I apologize to you, universe, for not using my God-given gifts, honestly, when I should have, because I feel like it was bad on my karma that I didn't do this sooner. When I saw what I had laid out, Scott, you're going to love this because you know it's true. This is actually a 5-part system that you will follow to create your marketing strategy from scratch and be able to reach your customers in just 60 days. No more of this copy and paste it. You're going to be guided each step of the way with easy to understand videos and worksheets to help you understand and craft the perfect strategy for your business. Because this is a system that can help you in every stage of your business. This is not an overarching promise here. This is true. And the best part is it can be reused over and over as your business grows and changes. So the business you're in now, perhaps in another year or 5 years, you're like, well, my business has changed or I'm doing something different. You can still access this strategy and it still works, because it's all the foundation stuff that you never see online. You go on YouTube right now, you see all of these videos and you're like, oh, I'll just watch all these free videos. But it's nothing that puts it all together. Right. And in fact, I heard somebody say once that, you see all of these tips and tricks, but there's never a plan for the implementation of them. And that's where it kind of falls through. So it'll be like, well, I'll just go to YouTube to learn how to build a house. Well, probably not, because there's a lot more that goes into it, like maybe structurally, but who's doing the electrical? Who's doing the plumbing? Who's doing the permitting? Who said you could build that treehouse in the middle of Miami, Stephanie? I'm just saying there's a lot more that goes into it. So with this whole 5-part system, in part 1, we are going to go through the target audience. It's the biggest, it's the hairiest, it's the things that people think that they don't need to spend time on. They're like, I know who my audience is. And you know what? Rarely do they do. It even took me years to really be able to, solidify who it was I was serving. Because again, as a small business owner, solo entrepreneur in the beginning, I was like, whoever wants to pay me is my audience. And that is not true. I am not a Nike girl. I am not a Prada girl. I will never be either of those. So Prada, you can keep your ads to yourself. I know who my people are. I am a Ann Taylor Loft petite girl. I shop there all the time, but that's a different story, just because it fits me. Okay, but you're going to learn how to identify your ideal customer and reach them. Then in part 2, we're going to get into goal setting, which is where we learn how to set clear goals and objectives. Again, every part of your content has a clear goal, and it could change with each piece of content you do. And you could have goals that are, for the week or for the month or for 6 months or for the year. And it all ties together. It's not simply about, I just want to get the most likes on every post. It will not turn into sales. 100,000 followers does not mean $100,000. It doesn't. So with that said, we get into number 3, which actually is the most fun part for people. They really like this part, the content strategy. This is where I teach you how to create content that converts to sales. So yeah, you could have a lot of fun of it. You might be like, I love creating that kind of content. I love being on TikTok. I love making these cool infographics, or my team does. That's awesome. But again, we're going to tie it all into your strategy, how it all works together. Because your content not only needs to be created, but you need to have a strategy or a calendar for when that content's getting created. Because it takes a lot of time. Anybody who ever comes up to me and says, oh, I want to be on YouTube, man. You basically make money for doing nothing. I'm like, excuse me? Scott, you want to answer this one? Anybody who's succeeded on YouTube.
No, it is not. And a lot of the people that relied on just a YouTube content creation have not been happy lately with some of the changes. You have to realize that YouTube, for me, I don't look as I'm going to be making money, monetization my YouTube channel. I look at it as the 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, 365 advertising for my company and my content. And that drives people to build like and trust, build rapport with me, to the point where they do click on something and eventually they want to buy it. But I'm not the YouTube monetization schedule. I don't worry about that. It's not aspect of that. Make anything off of that. It's great, but it's not a channel. And you can't just rely on it. There's not Mr. Beast that many people talk about. That's a different animal. You got to realize, especially for most of us, it's using that all the time, advertising to drive people to your channel. And that's the biggest thing I look at. And realizing too, from talking to my clients, my high-paying clients, stuff like that, my coaching, other people investing, it's a 6-month process. Oh, I'm talking to people. I've been following you for 6 months. I've been watching your stuff for 6 months, and now I'm ready to make a phone call. So be patient and go from there.
And especially the industry you're in. You're in the money industry. It takes a long time for people to feel comfortable to talk to another person about their money, whether it's investing, whether it's financial advice, whatever it is. So something like, yes, in the real estate market or in the investing market, longer nurture time, because people are just not going to hand over $100,000 for investing with someone that they just saw online. And if they do, you should be scared, because that money did not come to them, probably in a very legal way. If they're so willing to part with it and be like, that's a little scary. Yeah, so your content strategy could be the most fun. Also will be time consuming, but once you have the system down, it's like clockwork. It's fun, it's easy. And I can show you again how to repurpose that content. It's not a one and done. You can reuse it. You can do different things with it. Start with a blog, repurpose it 1,000,000 times. I show you how to do all that. All right, in part form, we do the platform setup. We're actually going to talk about content before we talk about the platform, believe it or not. Because content as it is now can really exist on almost any platform. Okay. So I wouldn't pick one platform and then be like, well, I'm only creating for that platform. Because your content can then be repurposed into a variety of platforms when you don't make it platform specific. Now, Obviously, certain platforms like certain types of content. Like obviously TikTok wants videos. You're not just going to post a static graphic on TikTok, but the platform setup and choosing an allocation comes later, because first you need your target audience, you need your goals, you need your content strategy, which includes how am I going to create that content and who's going to create it, and then you decide, well, where do I want this to be? Where do I feel comfortable showing up? Because that will be in part 4. And then once we get to part 5, that is where it all ties together. We track our success. We will learn how to measure success, how to adjust for it, how to see what's working, how to see what we want to build on, or maybe we don't want to do anymore, we want to get rid of. There's a lot of stuff, and because social media is always changing, it might simply be like, I don't know, that platform I thought was really taking off is not doing anything. Not a lot of people are there. My people aren't there. I'm going to change it up. You're allowed to do that. There have been social media platforms that are gone. People, you remember MySpace? Gone. You remember Vine? Gone. So you don't pick your platform first, because you are not relying on that platform, and you're also not tied to that platform. That is very important here, okay? And you're going to learn all of that within this system. And that's not something a lot of people talk about. All right, here you go. Here's the big sales piece. Pay attention to this one if you're interested in growing and you think this is important for your business, because I'm telling you right now, you can leave right now and go binge on all the free content you want online. You won't be any different in 60 days, but I'm guaranteeing, in fact, my guarantee is so good, I give money back if you're not happy. With my social media strategy for business, you get the complete 5 parts, and over 60 days, you're going to be able to create everything we talked about, tie it all together, and launch your own internal social media marketing campaign. You don't have to hire an agency. You honestly don't even have to go out there and hire a team. You could do this as a solopreneur. I can show you how to do this on your own and still not feel like, oh my God, my entire life is spent creating stuff online. Because each part is going to include video lessons to teach you what to do. There's detailed action steps with worksheets. And then there's also planning and calendar guides to keep you on track. Now, when I launched this program, in my mind, I was like, $29.97. Why did I pick that number, Scott? I don't know. That's what everybody prices at. Sounds good. Sounds like it aligned with the amount of time I put into it. So that's where I launched it at. And if you go online, that's where it is today. But then I really started thinking about it. And I thought, for my serious business owners, you could just buy this course, walk away. But the business owners I have worked with have come back to me and said, Stephanie, I love this course. It's awesome, but I need more. And I need you, girl. I need to talk to you. So what I do is I actually added 90 minutes of personal coaching, which you would have access to. You get this broken up into 3 30-minute sessions that you can do individually, or even have your team with you, or share it with your team, because the sessions are recorded for unlimited replay. So anything we talk about on the sessions, you would have access then to go back and reference and utilize and think about and share with your team. And honestly, my personal coaching is about a $1,200 value at this point. And that would be something that you would then, like I said, be able to go back and say, okay, I understand that. Because I don't know about you, but I am the person that will read the manual, but then I also like to go back and talk to somebody about, did I understand this correctly? Is this how this works? Is this aligned with me? Am I doing it right? Can we, can I do it? Can I launch this? Is Instagram going to shut me down? Are they going to ban me? And I'm like, no, that's okay. It's like, we can go over all that, especially with all the changes. What I also added to this, and it's also now part of the program, is private email coaching. So once you buy the program, you get 6 months of unlimited email coaching. You can ask me any question about the program or social media you want. You'll get an answer from me or my team within 24 hours. And sometimes it is just a matter of like, we did this, we don't understand this, is this right? And it's something that can be answered in email. And then you're not sitting there saying, oh, I don't have any more time with you in the personal coaching. What do I do now? Just send an email. We'll answer it. We include it in there. This is a $1,200 value within this whole thing because it's 6 months of unlimited email. I will say I am limited to social media. Please don't ask me for I don't know, guidance about any other aspect of your life right now, except for maybe marathoning, because I do know a lot about that. As you know, I've run 26, Scott. So
wow.
What I also put in this bundle, which I really love, is the content calendar. People, oh my God, people just They make things so complicated. They overcomplicate things. They're like, what's a calendar system? I don't understand. I created a calendar system to keep you on track. So then you know when to post. You never miss a date. It's very simple. It can live in Google Sheets. It can live in Excel. It can just live on your computer, but you don't have to go and recreate the wheel. I did it for you. It updates monthly. It's very easy. You can add stuff as you want, delete stuff as you want. And again, you could share it with other people on your team if you need to, because it does live in a digital aspect. You don't have to sit there and print it. You can print all this stuff if you want. I wouldn't advise it because, I mean, I love that all of my business is online because it doesn't matter what computer in my world is working, I can still work because I do have a computer in the shop and I just pulled out my other computer and used that. I didn't lose anything, and which is good because I had to do this presentation today. I'm like, Scott, sorry, my computer's broke. It's 1995, my computer's broke. Okay, so what I also give you in this bundle, so I said I don't do copy and paste, but for you guys, because I know you need a starter and it really helps in the beginning to have like a beginning like recipe. And that's what these social templates are, social media templates. You get 30 days of content ready to go. You can fully customizable. And I will say, you do want to customize. You don't want to just use exactly what's there, because you do have to put your own language, your own business in there. And the beauty is, again, you're going to use this as many times as you want, but it's great, just like with the dawn of AI. In fact, I have an AI component in there now, so you don't have to stare at a blank screen. You have a starting point, and oh my God, that helps. No more fear of the white page, as we used to call it. I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of all the social media, the AI stuff going on out there, because it really takes that fear of the white page away from a lot of people. You just need to start sometimes. And that's what the templates will help you do. And that I do have $130 value on that, because I'm telling you, these templates are rock solid for business. You're going to love them and you're going to be able to customize them. And they are part of this program, of course. And along with that, we have our social media platform guide. Here's what your platform guide is. I mentioned a lot of social media platforms. You're like, Stefanie, I know all the social media platforms. I guarantee you don't. In fact, I will bet you $10 right now you don't. Scott might, but I'm sure I stump him on a few. What I did is I gave you a whole list of anything you consider social media.
Oh.
I put it in there. I explained what each of the platforms are. And I even went so far as to say what businesses it might be helpful for, because I'm a giver. So you're going to look through this guide and be like, I didn't even know that was social media, or I never heard of that before. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And you could use it. It might be where you want to go. You might never ever be on Instagram, on Facebook. You might seriously only be on Reddit. And I show you how to use it in this guide. I put a little $95 value on it, although it should be much more. Right. It's just, I don't know if any of these platforms are going to be around tomorrow. I have no security in any of them anymore, but I do have security in you guys. And honestly, if you added all of this up, it's over $6,200. It just is. Yeah, I mean, come on. There's a lot in there. Like I said, there's a lot
there. Well, and that's the thing, is the value that is to the 6 months of emails, the 90 days of coaching, or the 90 hours of coaching calls. The 90 minutes of coaching calls there to reach out to, not 90 hours. But that's the thing, the strategy, that's the big thing, ladies and gentlemen, help you put up there. You've literally taken away a lot of the excuses that people have on this.
It's true, because I want you to finally feel confident and in control of your social media presence. That's what I want for you. I don't want you overwhelmed. I don't want you as a business owner to feel like you are lagging behind, that you are behind the curve, that you're failing, other people are succeeding. That's like a huge blow to the ego. Nobody wants that. We all do compare and despair. You don't have to be there, because I'm going to help you get in control of it. Because imagine the freedom of knowing exactly what to post, where to post it, and how to measure your results, all without relying on expensive agencies or wasting time on trial and error. That's what I'm giving you. I'm giving you back the gift of time, because it's not just for you, it's for your team as well. I mean, what would your life be like? How would it grow if all of those answers were, questions were answered for you? Here's the deal, and you can thank Scott for this. Everything I talked to you about, all of the different parts, the coaching, the course, the email follow-ups, the personal coaching, the content calendars, templates, all of that for today only, and only for people through Scott's platform and We Close Notes, are going to get it for $9.97. That, I mean, That's
Wow.
ridiculous, girl. Also,
Wow.
it makes me feel good because like I said, I personally feel responsible for not launching this 3 years ago when I knew that I could because I sat on it. Also, I was feeling a little bit of like, well, maybe nobody would want a thing. And now I realize, so this is me making up. I'm paying back karma. I am paying back karma by giving this at a huge discount to make it
Huge
accessible
discount.
to everyone. Everyone.
Well, but think
Because
about
I
this.
should have
Let me
launched
let
it
me let
before.
me throw this in sort of for our audience out there. Think about this. You've got somebody here, 6 months of helping you. Seriously, 6 months right there of having somebody on an email. Besides having a couple calls, the strategy, the content calendar, the templates, all that stuff's worth a lot more than $9.97 right there. But that's the biggest thing for you guys that are out there and not marketing, not sending anything out, not posting anything, and struggling to find deals. What's one deal going to make you? 10 grand on a minimum? What's one private investor gonna that you attract through social media gonna help you? 50,000, 25,000 at a minimum on that aspect of it. What can you do with that? Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Most of you aren't doing anything. You're letting excuses, letting this stop you because you don't have any plan of action. And those failing to plan are planning to fail. I know none of you are failures. You just haven't put the plan in place. And literally, Stefanie has put that in there in a stupidly reduced price. That's awesome. It's great. Thank you for so much for offering that to our network and stuff like that. But if you don't take advantage of this, ladies and gentlemen, it's the same old, same old. You're going to be floundering, never find any success. And part of the success we've had, fact, and trust me, I've invested a whole lot more than $9.97 to figure all this stuff out and do it. And this way, you've got the cheat sheet, you've got the somebody in your corner who's an expertise on that can help you filter through what you need to do, what you don't need to do. And 60 days get rock and rolling, and then continued support is just that's second to none. That's ridiculous. Thank you, Stefanie. Thank you so much for that.
Well, like I said, Scott, I'm really happy to do it. You and I have been friends for so long. I was so, happy when you invited me to be a part of this. But honestly, again, I felt really bad that I didn't do anything with this 3 years ago when I knew I could.
Yeah.
Because I just took the comfortable road out. I was like, well, I have a full-time job. I'm not going to worry about all this. And then, as people still came to me, including like family members that were starting businesses, I'm like, shit, I really should have done something with this. Like they keep getting the same questions. The information's in my brain. It wasn't, so I'm paying the karma bank is what I'm doing. I literally am like, please take this program now because I'm going to give you a code in order to get it because it's never going to be this cheap again, but you are going to help me repay my karma bank. And let me tell you, my clients will tell you that I know what I'm talking about because this kind of system works for all kinds of businesses. This is my client, Chris. He is a leader in the field of social security. His business helps to protect companies against social media engineering attacks. He is a leader in his field. He's written like 7 books. He runs a very, very profitable and very successful agency that helps large businesses protect themselves against social media engineering attacks, including things that you've heard like phishing, vishing, things like that, all kinds of scams. And I came in and helped him in his team with the social media. And this is what he had to say. He said, Stefanie helped us set up our social media strategy for our business. And it was that energy, motivation, and communication that helped us achieve the results we needed. If you're looking for guidance, assistance, help, and advice in the world of social media, Stefanie is your person. Listen, if you know Chris, and you can reach out to him and even make sure this is a real quote, he does not give testimonials lightly. And I'll let you know how I found him, how we met, Scott, so funny. I was actually took part in one of his social engineering competitions back in DEF CON a couple years ago.
Oh, wow. One that
and
you
so
won?
I got on stage in front of 700 people and socially engineered a Fortune 500 company. And from that day on, Chris is like, who are you? What are you doing? And I said, well, this is my business. Well, we kept in touch. And when he needed help in his business, he came to me. He's like, you know what you're doing. Can you help us? And I was like, I sure can. I mean, isn't that crazy? Like,
that's
awesome. Such a weird way to like meet somebody. But I mean, we've been friends for years. I can't recommend his services enough. He's awesome. And as you can see, he really thinks I know what I'm doing because I do. Let me share another testimonial with you. I know we are pushing time here, but I really want you to see how this can work for every business. This is my client, Vanessa. She's a marketing director at a very high profile Los Angeles law firm that does personal injury and criminal law. And the strategies that we created for their firm are helping to keep them at the top of their competitive search results and improve their SEO overall. Which, listen, if you know anything about how competitive the law arena is in any big city, like criminal attorneys, personal injury, things like that, very, very tight competition. And the work that we did together, she'll tell you, massively helpful in getting their law practice social media presence going, making sure they're privy to all the ins and outs of digital marketing. And remember, they have very sensitive things that they can post and not post. So we really, we couldn't do the trends and stuff like that. We had to be really specific with what would work for their, company and their industry. And she'll tell you, I listened to their needs, educate you on their space, and gave you the tools you need to be successful. She called me a master of my craft. Thank you, Vanessa. Up to date on the ever-changing digital landscape, and she highly recommends me. Thank you very much, Vanessa. You can also reach out to her. This is a real testimonial. These are not made up. And like I said, for an industry like that, so specific about what we did, honestly helped their search so much. Totally different industry than what you would have thought. Okay, final one here. Cheryl Sutherland from Please Notes. Okay. Cheryl is the CEO of a luxury, I call it a luxury personal development company. She creates these guides, these printed journal guides and workshops to help people live their best lives. And when I met her, honestly, her business social media was a mess. And she was just like, what am I doing here? I mean, it was unfocused. It was messy. I can say this. She's never going to see this, but she knows I love her. She's my best friend now. And we got her on track using social media for strategy. If you go look at her Instagram, she is killing it. I mean, just doing so great. We got it all cleaned up. It is now her business. For her business system, Instagram is her main sales generator for the past 3 years for all the things that we set up. Again, 3 totally different industries. We went from social engineering to a law firm to a personal luxury, personal development brand. And the system works for all 3 of them. That's really what I wanted to say here. Don't feel like, it only works for that kind of company. Sometimes you feel like that. But again, not today only, wherever Scott's putting this content, you put in the code GreatScott. You like that, Scott? You get this for $9.97. That's it.
Great.
Now we're over $6,000. You save $5,000. You pay $9.97. GreatScott. You never forget either of us. Life is beautiful. Where do I find this, Stephanie? At socialmediaproacademy.com. I bought that URL 9 years ago. Did nothing with it. Bad girl. Bad.
About time you do it.
I should go to confession for my sins. And this is what it looks like. If you land on the website, I just wanted to put that up so you know what you're getting into. Actually, if you see that little free preview button, if you click on free preview and you just sign up you have to sign up for a Thinkific account because it does run on the Thinkific platform. It'll show you one of the videos for free and you can watch it for free and be like, I like her or I don't. You might be like, no, I've had an ass full of you, Stephanie, I'm done. But you might want to be like, no, I really get it. So just, I ask you, watch the free preview before you make your final decision, because if it speaks to you, then that's your jam. Use the code. Take it as you must, because I want to serve for a greater good, because I got nothing else. Thank you. Hey, that was me with my longer hair. That's also gone. My plants are still alive. And I still have the lipstick. That's about it.
That's awesome, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Can you go back one more so folks can grab that website one more time while they're there? You go. Socialmediaproacademy.com. Everybody. GreatScott. Is that case sensitive on the GreatScott there, Stephanie? Do you know?
No,
it's not.
I just put the case in there so they could read it better.
No problem. Good stuff there. Yeah, it's. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, when I need somebody, I'm asking somebody, Stephanie's who I reach out to, and she over delivers. I will tell you that definitely above and beyond. If just from that offering there, way. I mean, I don't work that, I hate to say it, but cheap. That's, you work hard, you deliver, you want people to find success, and you're helping people find success in an otherwise area that they're confused or scared about, and it doesn't have to be scared. We sometimes, everybody, we just need that guide, that coach to hold us along the path, get us rocking and rolling, and then off and rolling. And Stephanie's that gal, that person for you guys out there. If you want to take your business to the next level, get it off the bench and get in the game. Get signed up today for it. And you can't say, like I said, socialmediaproacademy.com. Use the code GreatScott. We'll put the links again, obviously, if you're watching the replay, links to all this is in the video below here in the description or in the description if you listen to it on the podcast there. But Stefanie, thank you for taking time out of your busy, hectic schedule of saving dogs, plants, and being very active in community. Congratulations, 26 marathons. That's amazing. You just finished one, like, was it a week ago I saw, or something like that, 2 weeks ago?
I did a smaller race. I did a 8K. No, what was it? It was a 12K.
12K. Very nice.
12K, yeah.
Good stuff there.
Well, so that's guys, only about 7 miles.
Yeah, that's just that. No biggie. No biggie there for you. Good stuff then, Stefanie. Thank you so much for coming on here and delighting us with amazing content and helping folks put a plan together here during the social media marketing masterclass. Big plans for the weekend?
Big plans. Well, we've been getting quite a lot of rain in LA. So my plans are dependent on what exactly is not sliding down the mountain. We had some hiking that was planned. I don't know if that's happening. It just rained overnight again. I mean, we're happy for the rain, but it's changing a little bit how we're living our lives these days. So we'll see. I might get out there and get into my trees, find my tree house.
There you go. Go out there, man. Well, have a great weekend. Thanks for coming on here and sharing everything again, Stefanie.
Thank you so much, Scott. I do appreciate it.
No problem. Guys, socialmediaproacademy.com. Code is GreatScott. Get that $5,000 discount for $997. Put Stefanie on your team as a coach to help you take that next step. And if you do that, I guarantee we'll see you.